Alrighty, now we're on to solving inequalities. It's the same steps, same things that we were doing with the solving equations. We have to do GEMDAS in reverse. So I'm going to write GEMDAS up here to help us remember. And we had talked in the past about GEMDAS in reverses. Sad Meg. Poor Meg, sad Meg if you do it backwards. So again, step 0, you want to draw that river of love. Or the train tracks, if you're used to hearing Mrs. Prada say that. Then we're going to add or subtract using inverse operations. Then we're going to multiply and divide, again, using inverse operations. Then we're going to check our work. Same thing we were doing before. If you need more of a review of the steps, watch that equations video if you haven't done that yet. I'm going to get straight into this first problem. I'm going to draw my river of love. And now I see I need to add or subtract first. I'm doing sad Meg, S-A. I see my problem that I am adding 6. What's the opposite of that? Subtracting 6. I need to do the same thing to both sides. That's what the river of love reminds us to do. I love both sides of my inequality the same way. I do the same thing to both sides. So 14 minus 6 is 8. Is less than, we've got to bring down that 2x. Then if I have a positive 6 and a negative 6, they cancel, they cancel, they cancel, they cancel, they cancel, they cancel. They cancel each other out. They equal 0. Then we need to divide and multiply. Again, when they're side by side, what operation is that? That is multiplication. So I need to divide both sides by 2 because I want to get x by itself. What's 8 divided by 2? 4. The 2's cancel, so we're left with x. We should get 4 is less than x. Again, we still want to check our work. I want to take that 4 and plug it in for x. So I have 14 is less than 2 times my x, which is 4 we found, plus 6. Now I want to go back to GEMDAS. I want to do the correct order of operations. So there's no grouping, there's no exponents. I need to multiply. So I'm going to multiply that 2 times 4, which is 8. So 14 is less than 8 plus 6. 14 less than 8 plus 6. So now I need to add, what's 6 plus 8? 14. So that means that any value will fit this situation as long as that number is smaller than 4 or is greater than 4. Because if it equals 4 exactly, both sides are the same. I just need one little bit of a decimal on that 4 to make it bigger than 4. X must be greater than 4 for this to work out, so that's good. That works, that checks out. Go ahead and try this one on your own. Pause the video and check back with me once you're done. Josh is moving stuff, sorry about that. So we draw a river of love. I need to add or subtract. Here, my 5 is positive. Yes, I'm subtracting 4x from it, but remember, I have 5 positives, and if I want to get that to go away, so I can get the x by itself, I need to give it 5 negatives. So I have to subtract 5 from both sides here. Those 5s cancel, 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 cancel. We have to bring down that negative with it. So we get negative 4x is greater than positive 1 minus 5 gives me negative 4. So I have negative 4x is greater than negative 4. Now I need to multiply or divide. When they're side by side, that's multiplication, so I divide by a -4. If I divide by a negative number, what has to happen? When we divide by a negative number with inequalities, our sign has to flip. So now, instead of my sign facing the left, now it's going to face the right. My -4 and -4 cancel, so I have x is less than. 4 divided by 4 is 1, but we need to figure out if it's positive or negative. A negative divided by a negative is going to give me a positive answer. So +1 is correct. X is less than 1. I want you guys to try this last one on your own. You're going to solve it the same way that you did up here. Remember, save that grouping for last. We're doing SAD Meg. We're doing GEMDOS backwards. Pause the video, try this one on your own, and I'll get back with you in just a minute. River of Love. Save that grouping for the end. Save that x minus 6 for the end. That's a special kind of grouping. We have to do the division first here. There's no subtracting or adding until we get there. So we skip the subtracting and adding. We move over to the 4. Top and bottom, we're dividing by 4, so the opposite is multiplying by 4. So you should get x minus 6 is less than or equal to 44. And then again, we have to get rid of that grouping. Save that for last. So we add 6 to both sides. We get x is less than or equal to 50. Again, as always, if you have questions, comments, concerns, please send us an email. We'd love to hear from you. Otherwise, go ahead and go on and work on those practice problems on the slides.